Hi! It's gonna take a little while, but the lighting is better here. My name is Raquel, and welcome to my channel. This is Recovery to Wellness, where survivors radiate badassery. And it's currently October 2nd, 2023. Do excuse the zits on my face and the fact that I'm wearing a hat because my hair looks like crap. So I put a hat on instead. So also, we're in a new car. A lot has happened. A lot has happened, but we're not going to get into any of that kind of stuff in this video. First, so I'm anxious, honestly. I'm anxious to make this video. No one really knows that I'm making this video other than Allison and like people on Reddit. But I'm making a video and it's unnerving, I guess, in a sense. So I'm here, I'm in it, I'm making a video. Let me get my little spooter out. I got my little spooter guy. I backed up into this spot because now my new car has a backup camera, so I could actually see where I was and everything, which is fun. Sorry, I keep moving, I keep fidgeting, and it's somewhat problematic. It's definitely a while since I filmed on my camera, which is what you're on right now. But I am filming because I'm going to talk about someone called Careia. I actually referred to her on my channel a couple of times. Careia may or may not be her actual name. I refer to her as Careia because to me she is Careia. She has been for well over a year. So I haven't scripted this video necessarily. I've perseverated over it a lot and thought about what I wanted to say and all the points I wanted to make and everything, but I don't have any actual like full-on script, so might be all over the place. A year ago I made a Reddit account because I've been a follower of Careia since, like, if we think of a year ago, it was probably like 4 years or so that I was in her community. I was never like in her circle or anything, but I watched her like YouTube videos, I commented on her YouTube videos, I like engaged with her on her live streams, like I was very much in it. Like, I always really looked up to her in a sense. I didn't think that she was like better than me, or I saw us as equals, like we're both on the same like recovery from mental health conditions, like channel recovery stuff, things and such. So I always like, I wanted to collab with her. Like I would have definitely done that. Like I wanted to like have her notice me, like be noticed by senpai pretty much. Like it was definitely a very like fan to influencer like relationship, I guess, in a sense. And you know, I was never like within her the Lay's chips, which is what we're calling it, the sort of inner circle, the people who are in her orbit of like private Instagram kind of thing. I was never a Lay's Trip member, but I was like active on her YouTube and commenting on stuff and like talking to her in those kind of settings and such. Anywho, so I had been in her community for about 4 years, and then you know, on and off, like checking on her, things like that, whatever. Then last year in October, I got out of work one day and I don't even know how, but I checked on her content, her channel, and I watched a video of hers that was about like 10 minutes long, and she was like, I just interpreted it, the way I saw it as someone who has lived experience with mental health conditions, as someone in recovery, as well as someone who is an advocate, like offline, online, all of that, who has a recovery channel in a sense too, who has some training in these realms, some professional experience, some educational experience, all of that. I genuinely felt, I felt like I was put in a position where I was now responsible for someone else's life and safety, and I was really, really, really concerned about it. It was like 2 in the morning, and I'm like debating calling like 988, 911 kind of thing. I did wind up calling 988, which is the United States. It's the mental health emergency helpline kind of thing. So I did call them. I told them, you know, what I was, you know, about Careia. I told the situation, like what you know, state of living she's in and stuff like that. Not like state of living like housing situation, but like state of like origin in a sense. Like for instance, like I'm in Massachusetts, that kind of thing. So I told them that and everything, but they were like, well, we can't really do very much unless, you know, you can just encourage her to like call, you know, 988 herself or call for, you know, help and things like that. So I was like, okay, crap. Because I felt honestly, like I genuinely felt like it was like 2 in the morning and I'm like, I don't know if she's gonna be alive in 6 hours. Like that's the way I felt about it. So I was very triggered and very upset, and I had been lurking on the Reddit since probably about August last year. And then October 1st happened, and then I was like, fuck it, I have all the, because I was gonna put it in a comment. I was just gonna comment on YouTube about it, like under her video, but she had deleted it by the time I got home. So I was like, okay, well, I have to put it somewhere. So I put it on Reddit, and then I talked and stuff, and then I joined the Reddit, and then like, you know, I was very like disillusioned, I'd say. I was very like, I again, like I put her kind of on this like looking up to her kind of thing, which is also interesting just because she doesn't have like a formal education on the topic. She doesn't have professional experience like working in the field or anything. She knows her own story, and anecdotal lived experience is certainly valuable in some aspects. The problem is that just like with that video, she has used her audience inappropriately, in the sense of it's just very inappropriate. The internet, as I've said in my own videos prior to this, is that the internet is an inappropriate crisis space. That's because there are so many variables involved that don't really, unless it's specifically like the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline website or American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, unless it's like something that already, like, that is the intention of the website, to have help or services provided in a sense, that's a lot different than like going to your audience and being like, hey, I'm thinking of hurting myself, here's exactly how I want to do it. I had a better like thought plan of like how I wanted to say things and what I wanted to say. How do I convey everything that I want to say in like a succinct 20-minute video and then also go edit it and then upload it? Like, I don't know, this is like, I rarely do call out videos because it's just not my style. Like, that's not what I want to do and put on the internet in a sense. But so I will use the name Careia to talk about this person that I'm specifically talking about. I would encourage you to also adopt the name Careia if you're going to comment on this video. Just for easier continuity's sake, if nothing else. I am also changing how many subscribers she has, just to bump it up a bit. So I'm going to say that I'm going to refer to her as having 95,000 subscribers, just an FYI as well. So anywho, how do we start? How do we begin? To finding friends that also watched her content, that, you know, I became friendly with or like engaged on their content with, all of that, you know. It was a good time. She always, to me, the way I've been kind of describing her, in recently is just like, she's like a Girl Scout cookie that like came to your front door and is trying to sell you cookies, and like you kind of entertain her for a little bit, and it's like, oh, she's just so nice and sweet and bubbly and like positive and like rainbows and all this kind of stuff, right? Until you start being like, actually, Girl Scout Careia, I don't want to buy your cookies, I'm heading out, like I'm gonna go do something else. And then all of a sudden she turns into the Kraken. And it's like, she's just this, like, her public version of herself is so much different than her like more private version that is coming out in corroborated stories across multiple people, across multiple timelines in a sense. So I'd say her Girl Scout Careia is definitely her YouTube channel, but the Kraken beneath it is the Lay's Chips, which is her sort of more private Instagram community, where she behaves inappropriately. I think she abuses her power with having 95,000 subscribers. Like, she abuses her power in that sense. She, you know, for me at least, right? I always really looked up to her before I joined Reddit, before I learned about the Kraken beneath the surface. I always really looked up to her. I thought of us as equals more so, but we were on the same mission of like spreading mental health awareness, recovery awareness, like, you know, recovery channels and such. Like, I you know, I wanted to collaborate with her. I wanted to like do stuff with her and like, you know, just really have her notice me senpai kind of thing. Like that was the parasocial relationship that I was kind of in. Someone made a Reddit about her, about Careia, and so I started kind of lurking there and reading about it, and I was kind of like, like getting an insight into a different aspect of her in a sense. And I was like, oh, like, it's not what I thought in a sense, but I was still disillusioned. I was still very like, well, you know, she seems so bright and happy and like, you know, good. Well, maybe not happy, but like she seems so bright and like, you know, positive, and you know, so I was like, okay. Anywho, turns out about October 1st rolls around, 2022. I felt like I was put in a position just by being a fan or a follower kind of thing, where I was like, I don't know if she's gonna be alive in the next 6 hours if I don't contact like 988 or 911 and like get her help kind of thing. As someone who has lived experience with suicidality, like I have personal lived experience with that. I've been a psych hospital patient. I work at a psych hospital. Like all of these things, like my own lived experience, my own stuff. I felt she was checking out multiple like warning signs for suicidality, and I was like, shit, like what do I don't know, what do I do? So it was 2 a.m, and I was like, I'm having all these thoughts and feelings. By the time I came home at like midnight, she had already deleted the videos, but I had still had a copy of it, and I was like, I don't know what to do. So I called 988, and they pretty much told me they couldn't really do much about it. That's when the night that I wound up joining Reddit as well. I joined Reddit under the name Recovery to Advocacy, which is really not that different from Recovery to Wellness, so it's pretty obvious who I am. But I joined under that name, and I posted there like all what I was thinking and feeling, because I was like traumatized. I was like, oh shit, like, you know, this person is like, I'm very much concerned for this person is in this situation, and I'm like, I genuinely like don't think that, like I don't think that they're okay. Because she had a very roundabout, she never really uses I statements, but she had a roundabout way of being like, oh, well, you know when you don't really want to be alive, but you were born, so maybe you have to be alive, but you really don't want to be, and then you really think about doing things, and like all this kind of stuff. Like it was very roundabout, it wasn't really direct, and very confusing in a sense. No, I don't remember exactly who reached out to who, but I did talk to Careia on Instagram, where she proceeded to manipulate and gaslight me, saying that, oh, well, you couldn't have like, you don't know everything. Just because I posted it online doesn't mean that you know everything about me. I wasn't suicidal, I wasn't gonna hurt myself, I was safe, and I know when to call a hotline, whatever. And like, she was kind of like, very like, oh, well, I've been suicidal since I was this many years old, when I was, you know, abused in this specific fashion, which I was like, dude, like I didn't ask, like I don't know, but like, and so we had like a argument in a sense, and then I was like, okay, like I was like, holy shit, this is not the person I thought, you know, this whole time and stuff. And I was like, that was a lot. So anywho, over the next year or so, I continued to post on the Reddit, or like make comments or reply to people and like things like that. As the Reddit continued to grow, and as it continued to grow, it started to change a little bit as well, because then we started getting more people coming out from her Lay's Trip account that were telling and corroborating the same kind of story of how she has inappropriate behavior. At least, if nothing else, with her audience, in the sense that she considers her fans to be very close friends of her, which, I mean, sounds kind of innocent enough at the start. However, if we mix into the fact that she is, you know, using her fans as crisis counselors, which, why are you doing that? That's why they have a psych ER. That's why they have crisis counselors. That's why they have people who have training in these things to assist you and, you know, if necessary, bring you into an inpatient hospital setting, psychiatric inpatient hospital setting, for you to restabilize and, you know, move on your way and do the work outside of there to get better and recover and everything. So I have feelings. I have feelings, and I really don't think she is fully honest, because I feel like even if she wasn't actively suicidal in the moment, she could go to her ER and be like, hey, I'm feeling this way, and this is what I'm thinking, this is what I'm, even planning, even if it wasn't true. And I think that they would be like, okay, yeah, we'll admit you, kind of thing. And, like, she doesn't do that, and it's very telling that she doesn't do. I mean, I understand, too, that, like, psych hospitals are not for everyone, unless it's, like, active suicidality, like, if it's, like, I'm gonna hurt myself in the next, today, tomorrow, that, like, and I have a plan and I've acted on it, that kind of thing, like, that's even more concerning. And she does have a history of acting on her thoughts and, doing all of these things as well. I just believe that the internet is an inappropriate crisis space because of my own experiences with it being an inappropriate crisis space. And Careia has this whole thing where she's like, she only wants, like, certain types of attention, in a sense, like, online. Like, on her YouTube, she only wants people to, like, praise her and, like, tell her how well she's doing. She struggles with tough love. I think she really struggles a lot with criticism of any kind, based on her own experiences of life. However, if you're going to use the internet and use your audience as people to talk you out of suicide, that's crossing a massive boundary. Because first of all, you're not even equipped to handle that. Like, you have no professional training, you have no education, formal education on it. You have your own experiences, yes, and that is valuable in certain contexts. But you also don't know if these people also have their own suicidality kind of stuff going on. You don't know if they know someone who's passed away from suicide. You don't know if they're uneducated on the subject entirely. I mean, there's so many factors, right? Because then there are the people on the internet too who will tell you, oh yeah, you should go do that, which is horrible and awful and fucked up, but it happens because it's the internet. So it's like, there's so many variables involved that why would you go to your audience online when you could go to the ER and get the appropriate help and the appropriate people in places? Like, doesn't make sense to me. So over the course of this year, I've learned a lot about who Careia is behind the scenes, the Kraken underneath the Girl Scout, attire, in a sense. And I realized that she's not the person I thought she was. She's not who I had saw so much of myself in. I've learned a lot from her of what not to do. I'm not jealous of her, because I don't want to be her right now. I especially do not want to be her right now. And it flabbergasts me that she is very like, oh, I would never do this, I would never act in that way. But it's like, but you did. Like, it happened. People have the same story that they're coming forward with. It happened. You already did that. Once again, I don't like how this video is turning out, but, like, this is getting hot in here too. Hold on, let me put this on. What am I trying to say? This video is so difficult to make because I don't know exactly, it's not coming out the way I want it to, and I don't want to reshoot it, and it's a whole mess. But as time went on the Reddit, and especially over the summer, this summer in 2023, we started having more people come to the Reddit to share their story about what they had gone through and the types of treatment that they had been involved in within Careia's community, within the Lay's Chip community especially, and more beyond YouTube itself. So I started learning about it. We had corroborating stories. It also lined up with how my interaction with Careia on Instagram before, when she had told me, like, oh, you shouldn't have assumed that, you don't know everything about me, even though I put it on the internet. Like, you shouldn't assume that I was gonna hurt myself in any way, and, like, you were in the wrong for that kind of thing, right? So there's also the fact that, too, there's definitely been one wellness check that Careia has had in her time online. And definitely one. And I heard and was taught that when she had her response to a young person having called 911 for a wellness check, she had responded to it with anger. And I can kind of understand, like, I don't think if I was in a similar position or something and someone called services for me because you know, I was saying things or something. I mean, I definitely, I don't think I would be like, welcome to my home kind of thing. I think I would be like, oh shit. And it would bring up traumatic stuff and everything. But like, at the same time, I would be like, you know, that person did what they thought was right. They did something, I put them in a position where it was traumatizing enough that they were like, they felt responsible for my life and my safety, which is not okay. And I was not okay, you know, in this example, I was not okay, whatever, and they did what they thought they had to do. And I've talked about this on my channel, I've made videos about this before, where it's like, if you have genuine reason to believe that, and you can't, like, I mean, obviously I want to be like, you know, talk to me first kind of thing, but if you can't, and it's been, and you know, time is going by and something, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do, honestly. And especially if you do wind up calling anyone, like a, you know, 988, 911 wellness check kind of thing, make sure that you're taking care of you afterward. Like, make sure you're going and you're, you know, engaging in your healthy coping skills. Make sure that you're taking care of you. Make sure that you're reaching out for support. Make sure that you're doing what you need to do to be safe as well, because it is a trauma, and it is traumatic, and it's traumatizing, and it's not okay. And it's not okay. If I was not okay and I was putting that on you, I would want you to do what you think is right. I certainly don't want to be doxxed. I certainly don't want to have that happen to me. However, if you thought, Raquel, I'm really concerned about you, you're saying these things, you're behaving in this way, I'm really concerned, I don't know what to do, I'm going to reach out to some support that I think that you need, I'm going to be appreciative of that. I'm honestly going to be appreciative of that. Like, again, might not welcome it with open arms, but I'm not going to be mad about it. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, you should never have done that. No, if you were put in that position where I was the one who put you in that position, then yes, you need to do what you have to do. And, you know, everything else will kind of work out the way it does. So that's like something that I disagree with, and like just have a different opinion of, I guess. And then also, I think too, another point that I want to mention is how, like, so all this stuff kind of got brought up again for me when Careia made a video recently, and she was talking about how, like, I watched it once, so my own memory of it is probably not the best in a sense, but I am not able to go back and watch it again because it just pissed me off so much. It made me livid. I saw red, you know, when I watched it, and her comment section about it under that video is just so sad. It's so sad, to me at least, because it's like people who just don't know the full thing, I guess. And maybe I don't even know the full thing either, right? Like, I'm self-gaslighting at this point, but like, maybe I don't know all the things, but she just came at it like, oh, people who are critical of you, we should feel bad for, because they probably went through some horrible trauma. And it's like, no, Careia, like, I can have a different opinion of you and have like my own criticisms or constructive criticism about you and your actions and the behaviors that you have chosen to do, because your recovery is your responsibility, just as my recovery is my responsibility. I can have a different opinion of you, and it's not because I was abused in some horrible fashion or I was traumatized in some horrible fashion. No, I can have a different opinion of you. I can offer you criticism and things that you can do better. When I started the Reddit, when I started being at the Reddit, like, I was offering, like, here's like other video ideas or things that she could try or like things that she could do. But the fact is that she doesn't want it. She's not, for a recovery channel, she really has no recovery in it. For a recovery channel, she's really not spouting the things that help her or help her get through things, or what she's going to do when she faces certain obstacles, or how she does them, and all these kinds of things. There's no actual substance of recovery in her channel, which is very strange and confusing, especially because she tries to present herself as this educating factor and educating other people on recovery, mental health, and eating disorders and all this kind of stuff. But she doesn't do any of the actual work involved or shares it or shows that, and so it's confusing. So I think ultimately my stance on it is that don't use the internet as an inappropriate crisis space, because it is an inappropriate crisis space. If you are having active thoughts of suicidality, you should definitely call 988, go to the ER, you know, go text 741 hello or start, like, go take care of yourself, go get help. Ultimately, above all, go get help, because your life is important and your life matters, and you know, you deserve to take up space and be here and be alive and be happy and healthy and be okay in some aspect. Maybe if that's not right now, then it's later. I genuinely think that, like, don't use your audience as crisis counselors when that's not what they signed up for, you know? Like, there are people out there who are getting paid to do that. Go to those people instead, because those people have the training, they have the information, they have all the things, they know what to do, primarily. they know better than what to do than maybe someone who just also has lived experience, who could be easily triggered by that. You know, sharing trauma details is not appropriate for group settings, because we don't know other people's histories and their triggers and their own recoveries, their own coping skills, all these kinds of things. And for anyone who is in her or was in her community, whoever wants to talk, I mean, again, I'm not a therapist myself, I'm not a crisis service either, but if you know, find me on Reddit or you find this video, I mean, share responsibly, share knowing that the world will see it, kind of thing, and that it will be archived somewhere. But if you do feel comfortable enough to share that, feel free to do so. I mean, if you feel comfortable enough to talk to me about it, feel free. I will come up with a different name for you, and we'll all exist in pseudonyms. And so, I mean, that's, you know, that's kind of there. But I mean, just be careful on the internet. Especially, she was talking about, like, oh, you should tell me what your name is so I can apologize to you privately. No, she just wants to gaslight you. That's all that is. That's like 101. I want to gaslight this person, send my, like, people out to find them. Like, no, don't stoop to, don't put yourself through that. You don't deserve that, and she's really not worth it. Careia is not worth the second or 5 minutes or hour of you wasting your time on her. You know, if Careia ever does, I mean, also, if Careia wants to reach out to me, please don't. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want anything to do with you. I mean, yeah, I guess I'm making this video, and it's kind of a roundabout fashion too, but, like, I have heard my piece. I know things now that I didn't know a year ago. I'm a lot wiser than I was a year ago. I've definitely learned lots of things I should never do. I don't think I will ever be in that situation that Careia has put herself in by her own actions, her own choices that she made multiple times over the course of years to multiple different people. I don't think I would ever be in that situation to begin with. And I'm glad that I'm not, and I'm glad that I am me, and I'm my own person, and I have my own thoughts and beliefs and opinions, and I can share them freely, because that is something that I can do. If I don't agree with something, I can say that I don't agree with it. Like, that, and that's not because I was abused in some fashion. It's because I have a different opinion, and I can be respectful still. I'm not going to dissolve into name calling. I'm not going to be like, you should go after her and tell her horrible things. I don't want to do that, and I'm not going to do that. But I can just say my thoughts and my feelings too. I mean, I think above all, it's sort of one of those things where, like, I don't know, Careia tends to forget that, like, people remember, if not directly what you said or exactly what you said, they remember how it made you feel. And I remember feeling very hurt and traumatized and just kind of like, whoa, about it. And then when I heard her in that video now a year later, no remorse, no accountability, no responsibility at all. And it's just like, damn, I'm fucking glad I got out of that. Like, I'm glad I didn't get sucked into that, because holy shit. Like, if you ever want to know what working at a psych hospital is like, just go to Careia's subreddit. Like, that's pretty much it. It's fucking wild. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much my video, honestly. I know it's not like the best, and it's not like the greatest video ever, but it's just what I got at this moment, and I'm gonna head out because the sun is heating up my camera so hot, and I need to, like, the battery is dying, everything's going, like, I gotta go. But thank you so much for watching. Again, if you do feel comfortable that you want to talk to me, you can. Just remember that I'm up here as well, so don't share any details of eating disorder, like numbers or weights and things like that. Don't share specific methods of self-harm or suicide. Don't, you know, just, I have my boundaries all listed in my video description, so feel free to look at that if you want to, you know, figure out how to engage with me. But remember that I'm not a therapist and I'm not a crisis service, so if you are in crisis, reach out to 988, reach out to 741-741 hello or start. It's a text crisis service. There's also the Trevor Project. There's also the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. There's resources and everything as well. Your life does matter, you are important, and you do not deserve the crap that Careia put you through if you were in her community for that. If you're still disillusioned in her community, I mean, I don't know. Try to get out while you can. Like, I don't know. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And as always, stay safe. And much love and light to you, and I will see you in another video. And this is not my typical content, so just FYI. So anywho, thank you so much. And I try to upload 2 videos a week, so maybe you'll see something else that's interesting. I got a Reddit notification, so that's what that was. And yeah, I'm so nervous, but okay, here we go. Bye. Thank you. Bye.
I can see a lighthouse through the smoke. Everything is lost, I know.